This week, I'm pulling back the curtain on what the women inside Time Management Academy are doing differently that's helping them feel more balanced, in control, and actually making progress without the burnout. If you've ever looked around and thought, how are other moms managing a 9 to 5 job, a side business, kids, and a family without completely falling apart? Here's the secret: they are doing things differently. And even better, these are things that you can start doing too, and you can start doing them right now. I'm Laura Davis, a time management strategist for busy working moms, and I help women just like you optimize your calendar, schedule, and routines to make life more manageable, reduce overwhelm, and help you focus on what really matters. Now, before we dive in, if you are listening to this episode before May 11th, something big is happening right now. My signature program, Time Management Academy, is officially open for enrollment for the May cohort. I had so many women ask about a cohort during May because earlier in the year just didn't work for them. So here it is. You asked, and I am giving it to you. Now, Time Management Academy is where I help working moms create a simple and very realistic time management system that makes room for your business, your full-time job if you have one, and your family, all without the burnout. You can enroll for the May cohort at thelauraddavis.com/TMA. All right, let's dive into today's episode. And I want to start with this. Most time management advice was not built for working moms. Most time management advice assumes that you have total control over your time, that your mornings are quiet and predictable, that you don't carry the invisible weight of remembering picture day, keeping the house running, and building a business in the pockets of time throughout your day. But inside Time Management Academy, we do things very differently. We build flexible structure that supports your real life. One that makes room for sick kids and late meetings, and yes, actual breathing room for you as the mom. And the women inside of TMA, they are not productivity unicorns. They are women just like you, just like me, who finally found a system that works for them. So today I am sharing a couple of specific things that TMA students are doing differently and how you can start applying those things this week. All right, so let's kick off with number one. The women inside of Time Management Academy are planning for buffer time, not just productivity. And I actually like to call this the ramp up and recovery time. You probably hear me talk about that a lot. And I want us to be honest for a second, right? Most of us cram our calendars full and just hope that nothing goes wrong. But something always comes up. That's life, especially for working moms. There's always a curveball being thrown at us out of left field. Now, one of my clients, Tori, said it best when she shared that, quote, I was able to create space in my calendar that I didn't think was possible. We built in breathing room that I was desperately seeking. So here's something that you can do this week. Give yourself space between meetings. Don't plan task after task after task with no reset or time to rest. You'll be less reactive when you do it this way, and you'll be more in control. This also allows you to move through your day with steadiness and intention instead of rushing from one thing to the next. Now, your to-do list is still going to get done, I promise, and your adrenals and your cortisol levels are going to thank you for avoiding a spike. Now, I will also say that, think about what would happen if you just moved a little bit slower throughout your day, if you rushed a little bit less. Think about that for a minute, answer that question, and see how you feel. Because that's something I've been asking myself a lot recently is how can I rush less while still getting a lot of things done? Now, number two is that TMA students use their calendar as their personal assistant. Time Management Academy is not about writing things down and forgetting them. It is about building a calendar that actually helps manage you and helps you function. And one of my clients, Amy, said, quote, setting up my calendar to be my personal assistant gave me so much more confidence and peace. So I want you to try this week. Turn reminders on for things that you have in your calendar. This way, you're not always watching the clock and your calendar is helping to keep you on track throughout the day. Number 3 is that Time Management Academy students honor their energy fluctuations. And this is such a big one because you can have the best time management approach, the best intentions with your time, but if you are not respecting and honoring your energy fluctuations and when your energy is at the highest versus when it's at the lowest, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And one of my students, Megan, shared, quote, for the first time, I was able to take a sick day to rest without worrying that stuff in my business was falling through the cracks. That makes me so happy when a student can actually take a rest day with no stress. And I will say that that is the power of building a system that actually supports you so that you can take those breaks without feeling guilty, without feeling like you have to be productive in order to be worthy. Now, this is also true for when your energy is at its highest. During those times, it is okay to lean into high productivity. At times, I've actually found myself shying away from these high energy times for fear of falling back into that like hustle culture trap that I feel like so many of us fell victim to a few years ago. But what I've realized is that respecting all of my energy fluctuations, the highs and the lows, allows me to work in flow when I feel like it and rest when I also feel like it, both without guilt, right? So your move that you can make this week is to pay attention to where you're running on empty, right? Build in recovery time and take it when you need it. Honoring your high energy time by leaning into that productivity and your low energy time, that is a strategy for your business and for your life. And it's proven to actually boost your productivity in the long run. All right, number 4 is that TMA students use structure to create freedom, not restriction. And I will say that I hear from women all the time that they are concerned about adding too much structure for their day because they either don't want to be tied to their calendar all the time, or they want to be able to have more flexibility and flow throughout their day. And they also don't want to do the same thing every day over and over again. And I hear you. Trust me, I hear you, my friend. I am the exact same way. I actually have a really rebellious personality where I don't like being told what to do, even if I'm the one telling myself what to do. So trust me, I get it. Now, one of my TMA clients, Yasha, shared that her biggest shift was realizing how long things actually take. And she said, now I have a much clearer vision when setting goals and I'm not overloading my day anymore. So she's able to add that structure in a really strategic way and realistic way because she knows how long things are going to take her now. So to help do that for you this week, I want you to estimate the time that it takes for you to do things really honestly. Almost like I want you to take like radical responsibility for how long things take you. So stop giving yourself only 20 minutes for something that you know is really going to take you 45 minutes. If you aren't sure how to do this, how to estimate time for something, make an educated guess based on similar tasks or projects that you've done in the past, and then increase that time by 10, 20, or even 30% so that you give yourself plenty of time to get something done. And I will also say that estimating time is a skill that takes practice. You're not going to get it perfect the first time, but each time you work on this, you're going to get better at it. And so I think that this is something that you should really try this week. I want you to give it a shot because it's also going to make you aware of how much time you're spending on things, which honestly can be eye-opening in and of itself. All right, number 5, the last one, is that Women inside of Time Management Academy plan their week with clarity, not chaos. And one of my clients, Dana, said, I dreaded each day and constantly felt behind. Now I feel so much clearer and in control with my time. In TMA, we use Friday planning to start the week calm, not rushed. And I love planning for the upcoming week on a Friday for several reasons. One of them being that it turns a normally sluggish time of the day and of the week into a highly productive time with relatively low brain energy required, right? Because usually Fridays are not our most productive, especially Friday afternoons. But this gives you something to still make your day and your week productive without having to expand a lot of energy, like some of that deep focus work can take. So planning for your upcoming week has a really high ROI because it doesn't require a ton of brain energy from you, but it gives you a lot in return. And also, since planning my upcoming weeks on Fridays, I have to be so honest that my Sunday scaries have become very rare instead of the norm. It used to be that every Sunday, no matter what, I was just a ball of anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I wasn't getting good sleep. I was just trying to make the weekend last longer. But when I started planning my weeks on Fridays, my Sunday scaries are very, very, very rare. There are still times when I get them, but it is very uncommon now for me to have anxiety on Sundays because I already know what to expect for the upcoming week. So for this week, I want you to try to set aside 20 minutes this Friday to map out your next week. All right, so the transformation isn't just what these women started doing, it's also what they stopped doing. They stopped trying to make planners work that didn't fit their life. They stopped staying up until midnight trying to catch up on everything. They stopped thinking that they were failing and started realizing that they just needed to learn the skill of managing time. Now, speaking of that, did you know that managing time is actually a learned skill, meaning that we are not born knowing how to manage our time? What this means for you is that anyone, yes, even you, can learn the skill of time management. Now, also, these women in Time Management Academy have learned how to manage their time. So what does that mean for them? They're confident, they're consistent, they're calmer, they're more present with their family and with their kids and with themselves. And they didn't get there by doing more. They got there by doing things differently. So if you're listening to this before May 11th, I want you to know that enrollment for the May cohort of Time Management Academy is open and there is a spot waiting for you. This is the exact system and framework that helped these women that you heard about in this week's episode reclaim their time, work on their business without stress, and have more sanity in their days. And now it's your turn. Inside TMA, you're going to create a time management system that helps you balance your full-time job, your business, and motherhood without burning out, know exactly what to focus on and when to do it, plan your week with certainty and confidence, and get back hours of breathing room that you didn't think you had. So again, enrollment closes this Sunday on May 11th, and you can sign up at theloradavis.com/TMA. You don't need more motivation, my friend. You don't need better discipline. You need a better system. So let's build your time management system together. I'll see you inside of TMA, and I will see you in next week's episode.